On today's Movie Talk, Charlize Theron has her next role. And what's more believable, Michael Bay saving Netflix or Johnny Depp solving the Biggie and Tupac murders? Movie Talk starts right now. Anybody else need to clear your throat or do any sort of bodily evacuation before we actually get into the news? That is the freshly phlegmed out Jon Schnepp. This is the always ready for action and well-fed Kristian Harloff. I am Mark Ellis, and we have a bit of breaking news to get to as we kick off Movie Talk here today. If you're a Disney fan out there, I have some good news. I have some really good news. Star Wars Land just had a trailer, and it is officially opening at Disneyland here in Southern California in summer of 2019. That's to be followed by its opening at Disney World in the fall of 2019. That's the good news. Get very excited. Cool little trailer with some concept art and the Star Wars music. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. Then it's going to get really crowded. And then the not so good news if you are a follower of Disney, and that is that Comcast has made it official that they are bidding to acquire Fox properties for an all-cash offer that may or may not be as high as the assets offer that Disney had offered to Fox. Now, here's the big conundrum here, is that Fox had already started to enter preliminary negotiations with Disney, and when they did that at the end of last year, there was a clause that if Fox opts out of the Disney acquisition, they're going to have to pay Disney about the tune of $1.5 billion. So $1.5 billion. However, if Comcast is coming in, they're offering all cash to Fox. They can simply take some of that cash, give it to Disney, and then say, hey, we have a whole lot of cash. We're not sure what the exact number of the Comcast offer is, but as this gets closer to actually being a reality, a lot of movie fans are just saying, well, does this mean we're never going to get X-Men or Fantastic Four in with the MCU? Maybe. It certainly doesn't bode well for that. I still think that Disney, if they really wanted to, could acquire certain properties to put into the MCU if they see fit. But Jon Schnepp, where do you see this as of today? Is this good news or bad news if you're just a movie fan?
Well, you know, it's really hard to tell. I mean, it's like, I'm a little confused. You know, I thought it was done, but nothing's really a done deal.
You see the look on his face when I told him this morning that Comcast is coming in and they're going to take Disney.
Yeah, I would have thrown something if I was holding something. I was like, come on, you know. So, you know, for the small crybabies like myself, who all we really care about is like Fantastic Four and X-Men and Deadpool, I was like, I don't care about anything else really as far as the whole merger situation. Sky would be a cool thing, but that's, you know, it's just too giant. The acquisition is such a giant thing that what we're talking about is such a tiny sliver that even if Comcast came in and the deal went through, Disney and Comcast could probably work a deal out where the Disney would just, here's like $4 billion, give us this stuff. Who knows?
Yeah, there's two. You know. These are two giant companies. This isn't like Comcast is coming in being the underdog, Kristian, where it's like, oh hey, don't worry guys, we're going to rescue you from the mouse taking over the entire globe. Just because Comcast doesn't have cute mouse ears doesn't mean that they are just as big, if not bigger, than Disney as of this point. Do you see this shaping up to be a preference one way or the other? If you're just a movie fan, who do you want to see get all these cool Fox properties?
I hate to take this stance, but I don't care. It's
hard-hitting take.
Right.
I don't care.
The stance this week, no, I don't care.
I don't care. It's like great. Would it be cool to have X-Men, and would it be cool to have Fantastic Four in Marvel? Of course it would. Is it going to destroy my movie-going life if I? No, I don't care. It's like if Comcast gets it and they're able to build and they have a new library and they're able to do some more stuff over there, great. You make good movies. I don't give a crap.
But Kristian, think about the possibilities.
I don't care. Whoever gets it, make good movies. That's what you're going to be. You're going to spend that kind of money? Great. And if you have $1 billion to throw around, give me $250,000. Why? Because
he wants to go to Hawaii and sand his boat. I think that what you're looking at really here, this is the bottom line with a lot of movie fans, is that they're concerned that if Disney gets all these properties, oh no, my Alien and my Predator are going to be Disney-fied, and it's not going to be the true version of it. And they have a more, I think, readily complaint with what would happen with Deadpool or X-Force if Disney gets its hands on that, because I don't think that Disney would water it down. I think that Disney would realize, hey, we have these properties. We need to stay true.
They would make another division. They would make another
exactly.
division.
Yeah. And do you think that's the right call, or do you have, Schnepp, do you have hesitancy like a lot of fans do that, oh no, it's going to be watered down? Because I've seen the complaint. I don't agree with it, but I've seen the complaint from fans saying, oh, well, this isn't my Star Wars because now Disney got their mitts on it. I don't agree with that.
Right.
But do you think that there's a risk that that could happen to a property down the road?
No. I mean, like Disney's done this for years. They've had Touchstone Pictures. They've had different divisions that exist under Disney that don't have the Disney name, but the money still goes to the large corporate, the central corporation. So, I mean, that's what they would do. You're right, Kristian. They would just make an R-rated division, or they would just release these,
whatever they call the adult.
Version. So I mean, Marvel has their own version, the Max versions for grown ass people, who can like handle this kind of stuff. So, I don't know. I mean, like the Comcast thing. The back and forth that we've been having when we first heard Disney was going to buy Fox, that was really fun. Now it's like almost like it sounds like Comcast is the enemy. They're coming in to screw up our deal, whatever. It's like ultimately, yeah. I mean, it'll all shake out one way or the other. It's not like I'm really that 100% concerned about X-Men and Fantastic Four. Would I love to see Fantastic Four return to Marvel's the cinematic universe and all that cool stuff? Of course. I mean, I'm a big fan. My favorite comics, Fantastic Four, so I want to see that done right. And all the movie versions have sucked. So I mean, that's what I mean. If Comcast gets that, maybe they'll do the same thing as Sony and just make a Marvel adjacent deal. Who the hell knows? I mean, I don't want to take that I don't care thing, but the more I talk about it, the more I'm starting to feel like I don't care.
I'm saying I don't care as far as because my life is going to be the same as it was when it comes down to before there was even this talk of the negotiations.
You can say that about any movie coming out. Your life is not going to be that affected.
But what I'm saying though is, as far as like there are certain things, like if they just said tomorrow again that they were canceling all Marvel movies and we're not going to need Marvel movies.
I'd be pretty pissed.
They got to cancel all Star Wars movies. Then I'd be like, well, why? Why is that happening? But it's like this. It's a different type of thing. It's like, well, there's these deals that are going to happen one way or another. One of these companies is going to get it. And the thing is, before this deal was happening, nobody started. The only reason you wanted to get Fantastic Four back into Marvel is because the Fantastic Four movies so far have been garbage. So you want to see Marvel get them back. And maybe, like you're saying, maybe they Universal does get it, and they sell it back to Marvel. Who the hell knows what can happen? I'm just saying that it's a cool business deal. It's cool to follow it, like see which one of these conglomerates can get it, but I don't care.
I was going to say, here's why they really don't care is because it's a very tough thing to follow and really get invested in, because once this deal goes down with whoever ends up acquiring Fox, then we get a whole year and a half to let the Supreme Court rule on whether it's actually legal to do or not. So it's going to be a bit, but don't worry. If you're a Deadpool fan, you're an X-Force fan, you want to see Ryan Reynolds do more action stuff, we have awesome news for you, and that is that Ryan Reynolds is going to team up with the Deadpool 2 writers and a guy named Michael Bay to make, get ready, a Netflix action extravaganza. I could not be more excited about this news. Look, I'm a huge fan of The Rock. I think 13 Hours is one of the better war movies we've had in the last 2 decades. Not everybody agrees with me, but I will tell you this. Michael Bay, when he's locked into an action movie, particularly when he's paired with somebody who is arguably as big in Hollywood as he is with Ryan Reynolds, making a Netflix action movie, I am super thrilled about this movie. Here's the premise, is that you have 6 billionaires and they all fake their own deaths so they can become some sort of elite task force. It's what all of us wanted to do when we were 10 years old. I think Michael Bay is going to have a huge return to form here. I am not backing down from this point. This is not just 13 Hours. I caught The Rock on TV the other day. If we can take Michael Bay, and he can throw a lot of jokes out there, Ryan Reynolds is going to be able to look at it and say, yeah, I think Wernick and Reese and I are going to work on this, and this is funny. We're going to leave this out. I don't know who else is going to play the other 5 billionaires, but Ryan Reynolds starring in this movie for Netflix. This is a huge boon for a number of different reasons. This might be the next time we see Ryan Reynolds on screen before you get an X-Force movie. Kristian Harloff, is that what you want to see next from Ryan Reynolds?
No. I don't want. You put Michael Bay's name and automatically I go, okay. And then Ryan Reynolds, to me, first of all, and I like the guy a lot, but what's he had besides Deadpool?
Green Lantern, RIPD.
The stuff that he's tried to do over the last couple of years has not worked. But I root for him because I like him, and I think he's got a good business mind. He's a likable dude. You want all of his movies.
The
to be great.
Hitman's Bodyguard was funny.
It had potential there, and I'm not saying
that's my point.
I'm not saying Michael Bay would have come in and made Hitman's Bodyguard better. I just like this premise better.
Right, but that's the ultimate problem is that Michael Bay always gets a bunch of good premises, and then he just does the same old tired, glossy shtick with no personality whatsoever, and it turns into a fart box. The guy is the most untalented when it comes to like action. Yeah, he can shoot action, but it's just like watching stunts. You're not watching. There's nothing inside of this. Anything he does. In Pain and Gain, I made this clear. I just had this conversation not too long ago. Pain and Gain is probably one of his best movies that he's done. The problem I have with that movie was that the premise itself and the true story was kind of made, he didn't pay respect to the victims and all that stuff. That's something completely different. As far as a filmmaking thing goes, it's the best thing he's done in a long time because he combined a lot of the old school filmmaking of what he used to do with like The Rock, which good movies, but he hasn't had that in a while. And I know he's not directing.
But if you take
still.
Pain and Gain out of this, right, and you say the good things about Pain and Gain, because this isn't based on a true story, so I think that this makes perfect sense as Michael Bay's next project. Totally. And then Ryan Reynolds, too. I like this call for him, Jon Schnepp.
Wait,
how do you
Michael
feel?
Bay's not directing it?
We're getting confirmation on whether Bay is directing it. It is directed by Michael Bay.
Yeah, because I was going to say, I mean, he's produced a bunch of schlock and garbage.
Yeah.
So, I mean.
Now, he's directing this baby. That's why it's going to be great.
And it's called Blow Up, right? Is that what it's called? Or did I just misread?
I wish it was called Blow Up, but we can call it.
What are we going to call it?
Yeah.
Blow it up.
Yeah, let's go blow some things up.
Any slow motion? The whole movie's in slow motion.
The movie is called Six Underground.
It's called Six Underground?
Because it's 6 billionaires faking their own death. Like, look, they all want to be Batman. They all want to be Bruce Wayne. They all want to just disappear and be this mysterious guy. And look, I don't know how much comedy is actually going to be in it. I imagine with Michael Bay and Ryan Reynolds teaming up, it's going to be a fair amount of yucks and one-liners. If you focus on cool action here, I think this is also a huge play for Netflix. These are big names you're getting to Netflix. Like, this is, ostensibly their most ambitious action project since Bright. And Bright had a huge star in Will Smith. Joel Edgerton's great. Right. Okay. I like David Ayer. This is another level of action for Netflix.
This is something, I mean, Bright kind of like was so up and down and all over the place. I mean, I think they're looking for something where they're like, look, this is we could firmly plant this as like a giant tentpole action film. We're not going to play around six people underground, whatever it's called. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Well, it makes sense for them.
Cool idea.
Yeah, it makes sense.
I mean, but with Michael Bay involved, I mean, look, when I heard his name and Ryan Reynolds, I instantly thought tons of explosions and funny wisecracks. And it's like, if that's what you're going to get and the premise is pretty cool. 6 billionaires, basically want to become superheroes or whatever. I mean, the premise is there to have fun for 2 hours. So, I mean, I hate those, like, check your brain at the door. You don't even have to. It's on Netflix. Just sit there and watch explosions. But they'll be beautiful explosions. So, I don't know.
What we worry about with Michael Bay, and this is very warranted, because I hate the Transformers movies as much as anybody. And I think that he's the reason why those movies aren't good. And then you also look at what he did with the Ninja Turtles franchise. Just producing it, you could feel a Michael Bay kind of stench on there. I just feel like when the guy focuses on doing action movies and premises that have some comedy in it, but you're mostly looking at either The Rock or even a movie that feels like Con Air, which I think he produced, and then you also have 13 Hours and Pain and Gain, which I didn't love that movie for the same reasons you didn't, but I think if you take the elements that he did that are good in Pain and Gain, you combine it with a totally fictional premise, this has all of the elements. I'm surprised myself by saying how excited I am for a Michael Bay movie.
There's a chance that he could definitely pull it off for sure, but the other thing I think that we also agree on, let Ryan Reynolds stick to the comedy. Let his instincts do the comedy, and Michael Bay thinks he's funny. Michael Bay is not funny. Michael Bay tries, every time you see some of the humor he tries
horrible jokes. He doesn't have a sense of humor at all.
He thinks he's very funny. When you look at like some of the stuff in the last Transformers movie, I mean, it's painful. It was like going to an open mic. It's like going to an open mic and just watching someone bomb for like 2 hours, and you're like, stop telling jokes. Now Ryan Reynolds is
Wernick and Reese, who wrote Deadpool 2, are writing this,
and that's why I can understand the excitement, because it's like if Michael Bay allows those guys to do what they do and let Ryan Reynolds do what he does and let that actual humor come across, then it has a chance to actually be funny. But if he starts trying to be funny, he's going to ruin the whole thing.
Didn't they write Zombieland?
Yeah,
they did.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I mean. Those guys are good writers.
Good. And Ryan Reynolds is good. But I'm just saying, it's Michael Bay that scares me on this whole thing, because like the second he starts to try to be funny and tries to be, too creative, he stinks up the joint.
We're going to have a viewing party at my place because it's on Netflix next summer, 2019. Everybody can come over for free, except obviously Dennis Zen is going to have to pay $5 to use the restroom. We move on to a movie that's going to be in theaters next summer. On May 17, 2019, the new Men in Black spinoff directed by F. Gary Gray and starring Chris Hemsworth and Tessa Thompson will be released in theaters. And we have a new star to add to the mix, and that is Liam Neeson will be playing the head of the UK division of the Men in Black. So pair him next to what the character played by Rip Torn was for Tommy Lee Jones and Will Smith. Giving you a Men in Black movie, Schnepp. I'm tossing Liam Neeson in there at no additional charge. Do you like him as the head of the UK Men in Black?
Sure. Is that like some kind of clue to what the storyline is going to be? Like, is it going to be Men in Black in England? I mean, it's like, did they already tell you what the spinoff is going to be, the story or anything like that?
No, I don't know what the story is.
The story is basically that you have Chris Hemsworth as a more established kind of Men in Black person. He's been there for years. Then Tessa Thompson joins, so she's going to be proving herself a little bit.
So Tommy Lee Jones, Hemsworth,
it's a little bit like that. I don't think it's going to be as this is the old gruff guy and this is the new young buck that's coming in here trying to modernize everything. But I just like the fact that F. Gary Gray is involved with this too. I think he's a big boon to make this thing something that we need, because we would love to see Men in Black come back to form after Men in Black 3. I know some people like Men in Black 3. I could not stand the movie. I love this premise so much. I think there's so many stories to tell in the Men in Black world that the addition of Liam Neeson, that only furthers the credibility for me.
Are they still crossing the streams with 21 Jump Street? That's done.
That's over.
I wish they would.
I was into that Bizarro combo.
Me too.
I would have watched it. But this, Tessa Thompson and Chris Hemsworth as the new Men in Black, when they announced that, I was like, I'm back in.
Yeah.
I had zero interest really in a Men in Black 4 or anything, but until they announced who they got, and I was like, oh, that's going to be some interesting chemistry, especially from Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah, that's the whole point. Is the chemistry is great, and I think that by having those guys, Hemsworth and Tessa Thompson together, like you said, they're already familiar with each other. They, that comedic timing was great, and Liam Neeson has proven he can do comedy.
He's great.
He brings in that authoritative figure right away. So yeah, it's a good.
You remember in Ted 2 when he's like, he makes a cameo in Ted 2 and it's hysterical because he's just being Liam Neeson. He's just being very like serious, and he's going up against Ted and he's like thanking him for tricks. Yeah. Same thing. I think he was in Extras.
Oh yeah,
and
the cop in Lego movie.
Yeah, if he just plays himself, he is like really he can be a really funny dramatic actor in a comedic role. So we'll look for that next summer. That is Liam Neeson. Our next story is Charlize Theron is playing Megyn Kelly. That's right, Megyn Kelly, the news anchor who was with Fox News and has moved on since then, will be played by Charlize Theron in an upcoming biopic that's going to center around a lot of these sexual harassment scandal and allegations that went on at the hands of Roger Ailes, who was the former chairman of Fox News. So the Roger Ailes story is, I think, something that definitely needs to be told because it was shrouded in mystery for so long, and then women started speaking up against it. Megyn Kelly supporting the claims of a lot of the other women who spoke up at the Fox channel, and then she backed it up with her own account. Charlize Theron is the story here from a movie perspective because she's an A-list headline playing Megyn Kelly. Kristian, do you like that Charlize Theron is taking on a role like this?
I love that she's taking a role like this. I think Charlize Theron has proven. As you go back, I mean, I loved her in Devil's Advocate when it came back, like 98, whatever that movie was.
Way back, machine.
Way back. But like, she has just proven that she is so much more than just a pretty face. She has done so. She is such an incredible actress, and the way that she pulls from places that you just. I mean, Monster is the obvious, but there's even in Tully things that we just saw. She is just one of those actresses that you want. She's very electric, and she can do an action film like what was the last thing that she just did, the
Fury Road.
No, Fury Road, obviously, but the one that was
Atomic Blonde.
Atomic Blonde. I didn't love it.
She was great in that.
She was great in it. I just didn't love the movie. But then you get her as Megyn Kelly. It makes sense. First of all, you look at the two of them, and you could absolutely see it. And it's a story to tell, especially in today's climate. I think it's an important movie. So yes, Charlize Theron is absolutely the right choice for Megyn Kelly.
Yeah, Schnepp, we have a lot of these style movies right now because of everything that came out last year. Right. You have a Harvey Weinstein movie in the works, and then you also have this now. Is this something that is important in the climate to release in a cinematic form? Because a lot of people, you see this stuff day in and day out on Twitter. I know a lot of people that don't use Twitter. I know a lot of people that don't get their news from there. So this is another way to disseminate everything that happened. It might be a little dramatized, but I think that these are stories that need to be told in a cinematic form.
Most definitely. I mean, I'm not a big fan of Megyn Kelly, but it was like Charlize Theron is a fantastic actress. So anytime you put that kind of talent on board a film, now all of a sudden I'm interested. I was like, I mean, I've read enough about this case where I'm like disgusted by it, but it depends on what they do with the movie. I'll have to wait until I see a trailer for it, but they're adding the talent, so that's what starts.
Well, that's what's interesting to me. Is I'm not a fan of Megyn Kelly either, but it's like, is this movie going to paint her in a different light? Is this movie going to make her a sympathetic person? Because obviously she is when you pair her up against a scumbag like Roger Ailes. But then you also have what her own political leanings are, which is why a lot of people find her a very divisive personality. Yeah. Is that going to be incorporated in the movie? Here's a fun fact, too. The movie's going to be written by the Oscar-winning Big Short co-writer Charles Randolph. So that is, if you're talking about a true life story / scandal that went down recently, that'd be the guy to go see.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, she's an idiot, but it's like it's whatever her political bent mean. To me, it's like her being, sexually harassed is a totally different. It's a different thing. So it doesn't matter like what she says on TV. It's the same thing as like whoever gets sexually harassed has got to go. So.
All right, well, our next story is from the world of comic books. Get ready, Jon Schnepp. And not Marvel or DC. We're talking Image Comics, and the movie Analog is officially greenlit with Chad Stahelski from the John Wick world is set to direct it. Ryan Condal is the creator of the USA's alien invasion show Colony. He's going to be adapting the script. Analog is set in the near future where the security of the internet has been rendered useless thanks to an event referred to as the Great Doxing. Sound timely? Probably is. Out of the ashes, people turn to the so-called ledger men, agents who carry sensitive secrets the old-fashioned way, with a briefcase handcuffed to one arm and a gun held in the other. This is how people are going to be keeping secrets in the future. It's meet the new boss, same as the old boss. Analog. Have you been familiar with the comic, Jon Schnepp? Do you think it's one of the more timely releases that we could have?
It's a relatively brand new comic. I'm very familiar with Duggan. I've read a ton of stuff. I used to play Halo with him back in the day. He's an incredible talent. So I mean, this is his creator-owned book, Analog. It sounds amazing. I love this kind of like near future type thing where it actually is pulling back and makes it a little bit more like kind of noirish, where you literally have to hand deliver the stuff. So I love the premise of it. Sounds fantastic. So I'm sold, and I'm going to go buy the comic.
Yeah, so he's going to go buy the comic. Kristian, you're going to buy a ticket to the movie based on the fact that you have Chad Stahelski directing this movie.
Yeah, well, not just based on him directing it, but the thing is, when you hear the premise, you go, that sounds a little bit like John Wick, like as far as like that kind of, you know, the secret society type thing. And so
sounds a little bit more like the Adjustment Bureau to me, except you get rid of the funny hats and you put a briefcase in there.
Adjustment Bureau was sold on one thing, and then what ultimately turned out to be was something completely different. Right, really. But this movie does sound very much like that kind of John Wick secret society. And then when you say, oh, okay, well, then you get one of the director of it on board. Yeah, it's a really cool premise, and I think that, and it's also a nice, refreshing thing to not see it either Marvel, DC, or Star Wars. It's like something kind of fresh from this take, and it reminds me of what was the one with the one with Tom Hanks was the assassin.
Oh,
you know someone talking point back for what? Anyway, that it's
Tom Hanks is an assassin.
Yeah, it's great.
It's the Ron Howard one, right?
Yeah.
Road to Perdition. Thank you. Road to Perdition, another comic book movie, and history of violence, like those types of things, kind of, and a little bit more of the rated R type of comic. Let me see more of those, and I think that's what this is going to be.
Tom Hanks is an assassin. My mind immediately went to Lady Killers. I'm like, no, it's not Lady Killers.
No, Road to Perdition is really fun.
Road to Perdition, yeah. I'm aware of the movie, and I guess that was based on some sort of comic source.
A graphic novel, yeah.
So
I guess fun's not the right word for it, but it's a good film.
Right? Yeah, but I mean, the big question when I read a story like this is something that, like, I grew up actually collecting Image comics as much as DC or Marvel at the time because I was a big fan of like Shadowhawk and Deathblow and stuff like that. But is there a market for this in theaters? Because it's a comic book movie, but we get so inundated. And I think that's where what we were talking about yesterday, superhero fatigue. It's not superhero fatigue, but there's a lot of comic book movies that come out. And so is your comic book movie going to get lost in the shuffle if it doesn't combine to this huge universe? And you have Infinity War with 38 comic book characters in it. And then this is just a smaller story. So do you sell it as a comic book movie?
Not at all.
Or do you try to get away from the fact that it was once inked and lettered and all that stuff?
So Atomic Blonde was a graphic novel. I mean, so many movies like that people, people are unaware that it was first published as a comic book, then turned into a paperback, and then sold. I mean, so this is the comic books are basically the new paperbacks or the new novels. The way movies from the 50s and 60s and 70s were based on the best New York Times best-selling book. Now it's based on the comic book. So it's the same thing. I don't think they're not gonna say that in Analog. I think it sells itself. Like you have a cool trailer. You set it up. The internet's not safe anymore. We need to have these documents sent by personal, delivery and all this stuff. I mean, it'll just sell itself, and I feel like it doesn't even need to compete in the comic.
Well, it's also similar to like when a movie is based off a book, right? Like sometimes, like Harry Potter, obviously, you're going to be based off the worldwide phenomenon, right? There are a lot of movies that are based off books that they could talk about for a second. It's based off a book, but a lot of fans are going because it looks cool through the trailer, and depending on who you got and the director. And
this is like a science fiction noir. So that's what I mean. You sell it like that.
You sell it on that premise alone. You sell it on the trailer and who you get in the movie, and then you happen to say, well, where'd this come from? Is this original? No, it's actually a comic book. It's you don't have to market it as from the popular. Hey, I sold it at the table, but I drank all the water, so that's good. It's good.
There's literally, if you told me he was going to knock over a drink, I would expect there's not a drop of water on there.
None.
That was such a clean error by Kristian Harloff.
That's right.
It barely registered as an error on the scorecard, but it will be an E. Okay, here's a $1 million question. You were talking about analog. Okay, so if
Laurel.
It's in the future, and
Right.
you're walking around, and the internet can no longer be trusted. Shocking.
Right.
I'm a
Has it ever been?
user.
Yeah, that's
But
right.
that's the thing. You have a lot of stuff out there on the internet.
Yeah,
so
sure.
do you. So do I. You have credit card numbers. You have all this stuff. If I gave you a briefcase and I said, okay, you could only put one piece of information. Are you doing credit card numbers? Are you doing tax returns? What do you put in that briefcase that nobody else is ever allowed to look at?
I don't know. Nothing I want to talk about in the air.
Yeah, why are we going to talk about that?
Okay.
You know what? I would be worried though about like you can see just from the cover, the guy's got shot a couple times, blood shooting out of his arm.
How do you know it's his blood?
Oh, I don't know whose blood
don't
it
know
is.
that?
I don't know whose
You don't
blood
know
it is.
that?
But I'm just saying, like, there's a lot of hands getting sawn off. There's a lot of there's going to
Rated
be
R.
some violence. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
so.
good for you.
All right, we're going to move on to a true story. That's a movie coming out this September that had its first trailer released courtesy of Global Road Entertainment, and that is the story of Biggie and Tupac and the LAPD detective Russell Poole, played by Johnny Depp, who is trying to solve their murder decades after it happened. He teams up with a journalist, Jack Jackson. Forrest Whitaker plays him, and they're going to finally reveal what happened. The film is set to open on September 7th. I see this trailer, and I have two thoughts. The first thought is that I love where this is trying to go, that it's implicating a bigger conspiracy than just, Biggie and Tupac, they had a feud, and that they're kind of, their warring factions were the ones that canceled each other out. I think it does go a lot deeper than that, and I don't think you have to be a huge conspiracy theorist. You don't have to try to sell me that we didn't land on the moon in order to convince me that there's probably some other factors at play with this particular two cases, as it turns out. I don't like the way the trailer was cut together because I just feel like there's something about the way it's put that they're trying to sell me as to how hard-hitting and dramatic this is going to be, and I'm just nervous that I get into the theater and it's not going to be that exciting. That's just the weird vibe I get. Am I crazy,
Yes.
or is this movie going to let us down?
I mean, letting us down is possible, and I think I'm going to be the only person here that really loved the trailer. I liked it a lot. The thing that I got nervous about, whether or not it's warranted or not, is I saw September 7th, and that's normally just not a good place. It's right after the summer movie ends, and that's about a week or two afterwards, and it's usually where they dump movies. And September 7th, even though it's my wife's birthday, is
shots fired.
But now, no, for movies itself, yeah, that makes me nervous. But the trailer, I liked it. I thought that it was nice to see Johnny Depp kind of scaled down a little bit and playing like a normal person who was doing this investigation. And then I always like Forrest Whitaker to see what they're going to really go after in this movie. So I didn't think the trailer was cut weird at all. I actually was intrigued by it. The only thing that I said, oh no, was when I saw the release date.
Yeah, that release date, it's kind of like the Alicia Vikander Memorial. We have a good movie that's probably not going to be an Oscar contender, so let's get it out in early September. It's like The Light Between Two Oceans or Tulip Fever. She's a fantastic actress. She's going to have a lot of stuff on her mantle that are statues before it's all said and done. But it's like early September does seem to be a time when, hey, okay, people no longer want blockbusters. So let's try to be the first movie that comes out that's going to be an Oscar bait kind of material. Do you think it's going to live up to that, Schnepp, or are you worried about the release date?
I don't care about the release date. I was more worried about the, like Grimble Frimph or whatever. I was like, I'm a cop. When I first saw Johnny Depp was in, I was like, oh, come on, man. And I loved Johnny Depp for a really long time. And they started doing all these bizarro, cartoony characters. Even when he was like, hey, he's cast and he's supposed to be a little more serious, and you're hoping he is. He's like, I'm a weirdo. So it was like Donnie Brasco, Johnny Depp. I felt like, oh, this is good. Like right when I started watching the trailer, I gave a breath. I was like, all right, cool. It's like, you know what, the thing to me that's kind of mixed me up with the trailers, it's obviously time jumping. So, it takes place 20 years ago and then we jump forward now. So I don't know, because they were mixing and matching that footage in the trailer, I don't know if it's going to just start out like 20 years ago and we're going to be there for like 30, 40 minutes, or we're going to keep going back, because Forrest Whitaker is like obsessed with solving it now. So I feel like at least that's what the storyline is setting up. But we keep using Depp because he was the guy who was covering the case originally 20 years ago. So there's some kind of corruption angle that they're angling towards, but I don't know how they're going to figure it out. So, I mean, I'm interested in it. I thought the trailer got me interested.
It got me interested for sure. I'm just saying, like, I'm a little hesitant that it just felt like they were trying to sell me something towards the end that I'm like, wait a minute, wait, what are we getting into here? The actual story is tremendous, and if I have one criticism to levy against the making of the movie in general, it's that this is much more important than just a 2-hour, some director's take on a movie. I want to see like a documentary piece. I want to see like like what they did with The People versus OJ. Like I want to see the O.J. Simpson ESPN documentary.
Maybe they'll pose it to do that, or maybe I know they have a lot of documentaries.
They have a documentary that's being worked on right now that's kind of all coming out. I mean, you get around like the 20th anniversary or something like this, and it's enough time to kind of stand back, and that's what this movie looks like it's doing too. Is that they might use that age, reducing technology with Johnny Depp if he's going to be in two different time periods, but it seems like this is a cold case now, and that we're going to go back and investigate and just kind of look back into this, and then a lot of the LAPD is like, hey, what are you still asking questions about this for? We got away with this once. We don't want to do this again. Not implicating anybody. I'll let the trailer do that for itself. It's directed by Brad Furman, who also did Runner, okay, The Infiltrator, okay, and Kristian, are you ready? The Lincoln Lawyer.
Nice.
The movie.
Underrated movie.
It started the reconnaissance.
Underrated movie.
In my opinion. It was The Lincoln Lawyer.
Underrated movie.
All right, we're going to move on to your live Twitter questions in just a sec. So you can go ahead and start tweeting us right now. Use the hashtag Collider Movie Talk, and you can tweet us at Collider Video. But we also want to remind you that later on today, on this very network, subscribe right here to Collider Videos, is an all-new Collider Heroes hosted by that young man, Jon Schnepp, who not only is hosting Heroes today, he's immediately boarding a flight after Heroes to go to where? Orlando,
Florida for MegaCon. That's right. Come on by, say hi to me. I'm at booth 57P all weekend, and I'm doing a special Collider Heroes panel on Friday at 1 p.m. It's a live panel, so we're going to get sweaty. Bring your questions. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to pick a couple of different comic book writers and artists to be on the panel with me. So MegaCon this weekend. If you're in Orlando, Florida, definitely. Otherwise, watch Heroes today. It's me, Coy Marquia, breaking it down. We're talking about X-Force, Ant-Man and the Wasp, and a bunch more stuff. So.
All right, and we also have the live movie trivia schmodown. That's going to be June 2nd right here in North Hollywood at the El Portal Theater. You can still get tickets. We have like maybe 20 left. So you're going to see a promo, and you're going to want to buy tickets right now at schmodownlive.com. Roll the clip.
Shirewolves owe us lunch money, and we will be taking it at that event. Whitwer, the system, the clock, Harloff, none of these guys can get in front of my destiny.
Let's get ready to schmodown! Two epic matches, one night, and Kristian and I will be there to commentate on all the madness that ensues. You getting pretty excited for this thing?
Yeah, I can't wait. I mean, there's a lot of cool surprises. I was able to kind of lock something big yesterday. Some other fun stuff that are going to be given away to the fans that are in attendance, and you get to meet a whole bunch of people. If you come on out, again, Mark said there's 20 tickets left. You can get them now. schmodownlive.com at the El Portal, 7 p.m. on Saturday, June 2nd. Get them.
I got a little surprise right now. Not for anybody here in the studio, but for some lucky fans out there. Last week, John Roca did a magnificent job channeling his best Bob Barker, hosting a Sea of Thieves giveaway. It's this huge treasure chest that you get the game, you get some Xbox controllers, you get a whole lot of bags of Chips Ahoy. And I'm now proud to announce the winners of said contest for Movie Talk, representing this very show, Hayden Jansen and Meredith. Meredith at Daymare71. So y'all can contact us, just DM us on Twitter, and we'll get you all of the info on how to claim your Pirates booty. We also have the Jedi Council winners that I'm going to announce right now. That is Dom at Master Agent 24 and Alexis Brown at Alexis Brown 12. Hit us up on Twitter, and you can claim your treasure chest full of cookies and video games and video game controllers. Congratulations to all you Sea of Thieves winners out there. Now we move on to our live Twitter questions, and got a pretty good one right off the bat here. This is from Luis de la Pina, and he says, are there any plans for another top 10 video section? We did the top 10 Spielberg movies recently.
Sure.
We did some honorable mentions in there as well. A lot of Spielberg movies almost making the top 10. And he wants to know, if we are going to do another top 10 bid, what should the premise be? He suggests maybe best trilogies, best horror movies, or dinosaur movies.
Hey, Luis de la Pena gets around. He was on our had a Twitter question on Heroes just on last week.
Guy's active.
So guys getting around on the internet. Top 10, I'd say top 10 science fiction films. I would love to help rank that.
Okay, where, because it's the 50th anniversary of 2001: A Space Odyssey, where does that rank? It's got to crack the top 10
It's in
somewhere.
my top 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
You going to go see it in the theater again?
I wanted to, but my plans were, Shanghai. I don't know if I'm going to, unless it's playing in Florida, I'll go see it once I land in Florida. So.
Okay, all right. Kristian Harloff, what do you think?
I think that, obviously with Solo coming out, we should do the top 10 Star Wars movies.
Top 10 Star Wars movies. Okay. That
Battle for Endor, whatever.
Yeah, that
Can
Bibiani.
you put that in over the Clone Wars.
Bibiani argues with this all the time. It's like, first of all, we're talking about the theatrical release. Well, in London, actually, it was released for like 5 days. Cut it out. It's like the point.
The TV
theatrically released movies, and there's actually 11 theatrically released ones. If you
got to count that Clone Wars.
You got to count the Clone Wars. That was the theatrically released.
What about the holiday special? It was on TV.
That's what I mean. It's like every time we do it, Bibiani right out. It's like, well, actually, and it's like
I was shown in stereoscope.
Stop.
There's only one person that you can really trust with movie release dates, and that is Scott Mance. Now, I don't know if Scott Mance knows like the British releases of all these movies or when they came out in Europe or Asia or any other place, but Scott Mance is the guy to see for movie release dates. Nick Leitner is up next, and he says, there's tons of great films left to be released this year. However, are there any movies that have already been released in 2018 that you think could be a frontrunner for Oscar consideration? Nick offers the Joaquin Phoenix movie you never really hear, and I would throw that in there both as the Best Picture nomination and especially as a Best Lead Performance by a male actor.
I got one.
Joaquin Phoenix is mesmerizing.
Isle of Dogs for Best Animated Film.
Oh, that's a good one.
I thought it was great.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't have a chance to see the Joaquin Phoenix film, but I would love to. I just can't imagine it would happen. But look, as far as a genre film last year, Get Out got a lot of play. I'd like to see Quiet Place get some love. I think that Krasinski should be in consideration. He won't be.
It's a great film. It could be in the 10
I know
best films.
He won't be, and they won't consider it.
Really, you think so?
I just think that I just don't think the generation has caught up yet. I think that eventually, when we get more of the younger generation now becomes more Academy members down the line, I think we're going to start seeing more films like that get nominated.
I hope to be pleasantly surprised to see A Quiet
Me
Place.
too. I do too.
Max agrees with me that the Lincoln Lawyer started in the Renaissance, and then he says, "What ended it?"
The commercials.
The movie, the Stephen King, The Dark Tower, that ended it.
I don't think it's over.
Destroyed it. Yeah, no. It's
He's got a shot. He's got a shot to come back, but the commercials didn't help either.
The Lincoln commercials? Because he's the voice of Carl's Jr. And
is he now?
Oh my God!
He just bailed on even trying to.
No, but he makes me watch the commercial. He says, "That's a
When you
Carl
get hungry?
Carl's. Pick up." Oh God, it makes me.
Yeah.
I love Carl's Jr. anyway, but the Memphis Thick Burger combined with the McConaughey accent. Are you kidding me?
Can you prove it's not Jamie Costa just doing an impression?
Oh, it might
Could
be
be.
because there's the Visa commercials with the guy that they hired to specifically sound exactly like Morgan Freeman, and you watch the commercial and for the first 25 seconds, you're like, wow, Morgan Freeman. Then the last 5 seconds, you're like, wait a minute, this is something else. It is McConaughey doing the Carl.
I like the True Facts series with the guy they hired that sounds like Morgan Freeman.
I know the guy's name too. I can't remember. He's a comedian, very funny guy. But can't remember the guy who does Morgan Freeman.
Not Freddie Lockhart.
It's not Freddie Lockhart's good.
Freddie Lockhart is great. Morgan Freeman.
But this guy puts
Tommy Biscuits, right?
No, not Tommy. He retired years ago.
Oh, okay. Well, I like that guy.
Poor Tommy Biscuits. The guy had a wife and 9
6
kids, and he just had to settle down. All right. Our last question is: if you have the money to cast one A-list actor, it doesn't have to be an A-list actor, it can be anybody, to play an assassin, some sort of killer type in John Wick 3.
Okay.
Because we already have a number of casting additions. Halle Berry's recently on, Angelica Houston, amongst others. We have some the guys who are in The Raid are going to be in there. If you could cast anybody else to be an assassin to go up against Keanu Reeves in John Wick 3, who are you casting?
Danny DeVito.
That's good.
Yeah.
Defend your choice, please.
Yeah. No one would see him coming. They'd be like, "Who's that guy?" Like just silenced, son. You're on this. Pull your body bag, potato bag, son. Done.
He did almost throw his mom from a train.
Yeah, he's dangerous, man. Don't
He's a lethal weapon.
Yeah.
Donald Glover. Could be fun.
Yeah.
Donald Glover would be a lot of fun. Or Idris Elba, another one too. I think that he hasn't been. He was no.
No, it's a fun game with John Wick because you're like, this person, wait, were they already in a John Wick movie already?
Yeah. No.
All right, I'm going to go with, because I don't think she was in either one of the first two or is cast in this one, Sophia Boutella. I think she is so good at ass kickery. She's the best part of
She was
the
in Atomic
Mummy.
Blonde.
She was in Atomic Blonde.
Atomic Blonde. She was great.
She was great on the Schmoes No Live show once
She's
upon
in
a time.
Hotel Artemis.
Is she?
Kicking ass in
she's
that.
Oh, is she
good.
really?
Yeah.
Okay,
She's
well,
so
there
good.
you go.
Yeah, she's really good.
Yeah, I hear good things about Hotel Artemis. We have people here at the studio that saw it. We can't talk about it yet. They can't review it, but I'm sorry. Were you snoozing? Okay, there's Kristian. And that's pretty much summing up today's performance on Movie Talk by the one, the only. Somebody get that man breakfast. Jon Schnepp, thank you for joining us. Good luck in Orlando this weekend. I am merely Mark Ellis. Thank you guys for tuning into whatever this is. No, please.
It's a puppet show. Hey, I'm Leapy. How are you?
Hey everybody, Mark Ellis here. Thanks for watching this episode of Collider Movie Talk. You want to watch more? Then click up here, or you can click right here for more great content from Collider. And if you haven't subscribed to Collider Video, do so right now and share this vid with your friends. Thanks for watching.